Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So there's a couple of stories I want to go over today. One of them could be positive news depending on how you take it, and the other one is quite disturbing, coming from the former Shadow Chancellor under a Jeremy Corbyn opposition, John Mcdonnell. So John Mcdonnell was being interviewed and he was asked about Reform UK and more specifically Nigel Farage. Now let's just look at John Mcdonnell's career before I tell you what he had to say. So John Mcdonnell was pretty unknown. He's a hard left Labour MP, he's a bit of a grandie, he's been there a long time, and then he found himself as the number 2 under Jeremy Corbyn in opposition. Since then, he's not really made many headlines. We did a video about him around 6 months ago, giving him credit when he defied the whip from Keir Starmer. But again, since then, there's not been very much from him at all. But when asked about Nigel Farage, it sounded like something coming from the USA, from the Democrats, about Donald Trump. It was unhinged, it was dangerous, and it was just outright sick, if I'm completely honest. So let me read you the quote what John Mcdonnell said. So John Mcdonnell said he compared Farage to Adolf Hitler, and he said, "We've seen this in the 30s. What they do, they have a demigod speaking for them," comparing Farage there to Adolf Hitler. "They target a particular group. In the 30s, it was in Germany, it would have been the Jews. Here, it is asylum seekers. We have all seen it before." So what do? Well, you have to combat it. You have to combat the arguments. You have to mobilise against them. The MP for Hayes and Harleton has also launched a tirade against the Labour government, accusing it of dancing to Farage tune by attacking asylum seekers. So let's unpack what John Mcdonnell had to say there. So first of all, he's obviously comparing Farage to Adolf Hitler, and he's comparing Reform UK to the Nazi Party. He's saying they're demonising asylum seekers, blaming them for everything to try to win the election, like Adolf Hitler did to Jews. Now there's a couple of ironic things to point out. Which political party was it that had more people who disliked Jews than any other party over the last probably 50 years? It was the Labour Party under Mcdonnell and Corbyn. Maybe they wasn't. Let's be honest, the mainstream media attacked him like they did Farage, but they had a lot of far left, basically Jew haters within their party, and they should know better than throwing out fake insults after what they went through. Now, I don't like anything these two stand for, but I was clever enough to be able to look at the mainstream media and see that they didn't want a Jeremy Corbyn government. Don't get me wrong, Corbyn sold out his morals by going against Brexit after being a Brexiteer his entire life, but the media hounded the guy, they made stories up about him, but they should know better. And they should definitely know better when they was accused of this very thing themselves and had far left members who was constantly attacking the Jewish community. Now, second of all, how dangerous have we seen this type of language be? Look at the Democrats in America accusing Donald Trump of being a Nazi, being Adolf Hitler. What happened? An assassination attempt several times was took out on his life. We've just seen Charlie Kirk, the big podcaster in America, shot today, and it'll probably turn out by some far left who's believing the dangerous language what's being put out there. Unfortunately, John Mcdonnell is now finding himself in. So I would say I hope he's took to task, but let's be honest, the guy is absolutely irrelevant. After attacking Labour, he then goes on to say how much he wants to get the whip back and he won't be joining Corbyn's party, which makes me wonder, is Keir Starmer dangling a carrot in front of these far left Labour MPs who had the whip took off him, having them do his dirty work, but at the same time being able to keep his distance? We will certainly be able to tell as time goes on. But I want to also touch on another story, and this is a really interesting story, and that is that Richard Tice, the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, has put a tweet out. He will be sharing the stage tomorrow with Suella Braverman, the Conservative MP, and Lord Frost, basically the guy who was in charge of the Brexit negotiations for the Conservative government. They're going to appear on a press conference, and it's going to be all about leaving the ECHR. Now, what's interesting about this is it's raising a lot of speculation. Are these two, especially Suella Braverman, going to join Reform UK? Now, Suella Braverman would be the first sitting Conservative MP to jump ship since the general election. They had one before under Lee Anderson, but everyone else who's jumped ship so far have been people who lost the seat at the last general election. Now, a lot of people criticised me last time, but it's important that I speak the truth on this channel, not just what I think people want to hear. But I think Suella Braverman would be a massive victory for Reform UK. Now, there was some issues last time with Zia Rousseff, the former chair of Reform, who basically said she wouldn't be welcome. That caused her husband to leave Reform UK. But it definitely seems that they've patched things back up. And I want you to let me know in the comment section, would you like to see Suella Braverman and Lord Frost join Reform UK? Or do you think there was too much damage done under the Conservative Party? If we look at the language that Suella Braverman talks about, she is basically Reform UK. The Conservative Party, they don't have anything that matches her identity anymore. They're basically liberal conservatives. They don't stand for Brexit. They don't stand for deportation of criminals, never mind mass deportation. I don't even think there's many of them that stand for having controlled numbers coming in the country. So I don't know why Suella Braverman is still in the Conservative Party, because there's no comeback at the moment for the Conservative Party, especially this side of a general election. And I don't think there's enough MPs in there that would ever vote her as leader, especially when you've got Robert Jenrick, who seems to be far more popular because he seems to toe that line more. Now, there's a lot of people that don't want Suella Braverman joining Reform UK, or in fact, they don't want any ex-Conservative MPs joining. But like I've mentioned before, only a couple of videos ago, Farage is going to have to build a cabinet and needs people with experience. Now, if you can get people with experience like Suella, but also share the same values, to me, that is a win-win, and it's massive headlines. The most important thing for Farage now is to keep those big headlines going for the next 3 or 4 years and just not running out of steam as the general election comes near. But let me know what you think of John Mcdonnell and his comments. Do you think it's just a far-left dinosaur trying to hit the headlines one last time, or do you think there's something more darker coming from the top of the Labour Party? And let me know, would you like to see Suella Braverman be the first Conservative MP to jump ship to Reform UK? Please like, share and definitely subscribe to the channel so I can get more of these videos out to more and more people. And I'll see you all on the next video.